Hello and welcome back to In the Kitchen with Matt. I am your host, Matt Taylor. Today I have another vlog episode for you, and I'm going to be talking about what I consider the top 3 team building activities with food. I really like team building activities. It's really fun to get together with a group of people that you work with or that you associate regularly, or with friends or with family members, and do activities together, which requires you to work together to accomplish some sort of goal. A lot of times it has to do with a competition, and the winning team usually will win some sort of a prize. So there's definitely some kind of motivation to work together nicely and create something cool. Other times it's just to create a more harmonious group or team. And so lately I've been doing these team building activities, or leading these team building activities with my church group, a big group of singles, and it's been really, really fun. The first time I did one of these specific ones I'm talking about today, it was with my family, and my brother actually told us about it or led us through it. And it was at my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and it was really, really fun activity, and I thought I would incorporate that with things that I do with this singles group. And so let's go ahead and talk about these. The first one I want to talk about is just an incredible fun activity. And what you're going to do, and what I've called this activity or this series of activities, my phrase that I use is "let's build it." That is the title of these 3 activities, and I'm going to add more and more activities as I go along. So the title is "Let's Build It." And the first activity that I did is, and this is the one that my brother told me about, and some of you might be aware of this, is a pretty common one, is building towers out of marshmallows, little marshmallows, or you could use the big marshmallows, and spaghetti noodles. So let's bring the camera in a little closer, and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so the idea is you would buy each team a package of marshmallows, and these are super cheap. All of these activities I'm going to be showing are really, really cheap and expensive, and you don't need to have any kind of cooking products there. You don't need to have an oven or microwave or anything like that. It's everything that can be done. It can be done in a classroom. It could be done at home on a kitchen table. It could be done in an office or like a conference room or something like that. All right, so a bag of marshmallows, mini marshmallows, is like $1 or like $1.50 depending on where you shop. And then you get you give each team a bag of spaghetti noodles as well. Again, the spaghetti noodles would probably be, I don't know, $1.50, $2 for a bag of spaghetti noodles. So each team, the total cost of these items would be like $2 to $3 per team, and that's really cheap. And then so what you do is you give them a time limit, 20 to 30 minutes, and then you have them go and you give them it could be up to you what you want them to try to build. I always like to do towers, and the tallest tower wins, or you could have them try to build something else. So the team that builds something that most resembles some building, or something out of history or something like that, whatever you want to do. All right, and then so what you do is you would grab some of these, and then you start to try to build stuff with it. And then, you just go to town starting to try to build something. And usually what will happen is someone in the group might have experience building, and for some reason, they might just take the lead on you, or you might have that stronger personality that kind of takes the lead. But usually there's a lot of group input that's put together in there, and it's a really good way to get a lot of people involved. And you could, depending on the dynamic of the team or the group or the family, they will all participate in their own way. Now, I'm not going to build much more than this. I'm just want to show you kind of the idea. Look, I already made something that's about 12 inches tall. But you could also build in some kind of analogy of like starting with a strong foundation first, and then building up from there, which is kind of like in life with families or with businesses or in church groups. You want to start with a good foundation first, and then go from there, and that'll help you to reach higher heights. Anyway, that's really cool. Here's some pictures of the activity that we did, some of the awesome things that people built, and we got some pretty high structures that were built, and everyone had a really great time. All right, so the first team building activity is building towers with marshmallows and spaghetti noodles. The second activity along the same lines is building towers or tall structures with frosting and graham crackers. Now, when I did this in the past, it was around Christmas time, and so we had like the Christmas theme, and instead of building just a classic little gingerbread house, we did gingerbread towers and try to build them as tall as we could. And so what you do is it's up to you. What I did, which was really actually pretty fun, is we had about 8 teams or 10 teams. I think it was 10 teams, and there's about 6 to 7 people on a team. And what I did is everyone started off with a thing of frosting, which was like $2 or something like that. And then also they had a box of graham crackers. And then what I did is I had a table set up where I had a lot of extra stuff that you could use. I had extra graham crackers. I had extra frosting. I had piping bags with tips on it that they could use. I had different kind of decorations that could be used. And then what I did is I had a member from each team come up, and we did like a snake draft. I had them pick a number between 1 and 10 or something like that, and then I would do a snake draft. So the person that went first, they would get first pick of something extra from the table, and so on. It would go down, and then you just go back around until everyone got 2 extra things to help them build their graham cracker towers or gingerbread towers. And that was quite a bit of fun. We had a really good turnout, and everyone had such a good time, and it was a good way. As I would walk around and look at how people were interacting with each other, you could always tell there was that one person that kind of took the lead, and then there's others that were putting in their 2 cents, if you will, and they had a really good job. Also, the caveat with that particular time is I gave them a board, a cardboard cake board, and they had to be able to build it on that board and then pick it up and take it over to the display table. And that was one of the things that they had to keep in mind. Again, there were some pretty tall structures that were built with that. It was really an interesting experience and a fun team building activity. All right, so there you go. That is the team building activity number 2, building towers or structures with graham crackers and frosting. It's up to you what you want to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be towers. It could be try to make one of the top wonders of the world, try to build, or it could be the coolest graham cracker house or gingerbread house or something like that. And then you have judges, and you get prizes for the winners, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be towers. I love towers and tall structures, so most of the things that I do are centered around that. But totally up to you what you want the theme of it to be. That brings us to the third and final team building activity that I have for you. And again, it's along those same lines. It's let's build it. But what we are doing is we are building towers or structures using only spice drops or gumdrops and toothpicks. So different building materials lends itself to different structures, of course. Again, for this activity, the stipulation was try to build them tall, but also you can try to build them like really cool. So we had 2 different categories, one for the most creative and coolest, and the other for the tallest. Let me bring the camera in for a closer look and just show you kind of what I mean by this. Again, this activity is super inexpensive. This bag of spice drops cost $1 at Walmart. I guess it was 98 cents. And these toothpicks cost 69 cents at my grocery store. So really cheap. So it's under $2 per team. So it was really cool. Again, I had extras in case people ran out. And then what they would do is to grab some spice drops and, you start going to town. I thought it'd be really cool to build something like the Louvre, however you pronounce that. I'm just gonna do a really quick little structure here. Also, one thing I want to mention, it's up to you if you let them know ahead of time what their building materials will be. But if it's if you're gonna have it as a competition setting with there's prizes and stuff, there are gonna be people that are gonna research online to see if anybody else done it and see what's the best technique. I always find it's fun to keep the building materials a secret. And then it adds an air of mystery, especially if you're doing it as like an ongoing activity, once a quarter or something like that. You do an episode or you do an edition of Let's Build It. And if you want to have me come and run one of these Let's Build It team building activities for your organization, I'm open to doing that. And you can hire me to come over to your organization and do it. Seems like it's something simple that you could run yourself without needing my building expertise. Anyway, there's my little tower. All right, so there you have it, my 3 top team building activities with food. There's plenty of other team building activities out there. I think the ultimate team building activity would be cooking some kind of recipe together, but you can't always do that in your organization where you're at, but you certainly can do that as a family. Anyway, I'm Matt Taylor. This has been another episode of In the Kitchen with Matt. Thank you for joining. Until next time, take care.